dangerous signals. The station's communication system crackled to life with a harsh static burst, startling Darian from a deep sleep. Beside him on the floor, Ilara jerked awake, her silver eyes wide with alarm. "Just the comms," he assured her, touching her shoulder gently. After 10 days of isolation, the outside world was intruding once again. The screen flickered as he established connection with Central Command. Messages streamed in, mostly routine updates and weather reports. But one priority alert caught his attention immediately: an interstellar bulletin describing a fugitive alien with empathic abilities. The description matched Ilara with disturbing accuracy. "Approach with extreme caution," the message warned. "Subject is a Meridian empath, potentially dangerous. Reward offered for information leading to capture. Contact Helix Corporation's security forces." Darian glanced at Ilara, who watched him with growing unease. He could feel her anxiety building like static electricity in the air between them. "I won't tell them," he said firmly, deleting the message from the system log. "You're safe here." That night, unable to sleep, Darian accessed the station's limited database, searching for information on Meridians. The sparse entries described a reclusive species known for their emotional intelligence and empathic abilities. Once peaceful traders, their numbers had dwindled after contact with human corporations who discovered their empathic abilities could be chemically harvested and synthesized into powerful emotion-altering substances. When he returned to their shared living space, Ilara sat waiting, her posture tense. She reached for his hand without hesitation, and the moment their skin touched, Darian understood she knew exactly what he had learned. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Her response wasn't words, but a complex emotion, resignation tinged with defiance. Then, deliberately, she guided his hand to rest against her chest, just above her heart. The connection between them surged, more intense than before. Heat bloomed in Darian's chest, spreading outward until his entire body felt electrified. Ilara's silver eyes darkened to smoke, and Darian realized this was something beyond simple empathic communication. The Meridians were touch telepaths of extraordinary sensitivity, and what was happening between them transcended language or conventional understanding. As their foreheads touched, Darian saw fragments of Ilara's past, her peaceful homeworld, the arrival of the corporation ships, the systematic hunting of her people. He felt her fear, her determination, her flight across 3 star systems before crash landing on Nix-6. And beneath it all, something new growing between them, a tender, fragile emotion that made his heart race. When the vision faded, they remained close, breathing in synchrony. Darian traced the curve of her purple cheek with gentle fingers, marveling at how natural it felt. Ilara leaned into his touch, her eyes half closed. The kiss, when it came, seemed inevitable, a natural extension of their telepathic connection. Her lips were cooler than human temperature, but softer than he'd imagined. The contact sent waves of shared sensation spiraling between them, each feeling amplified by the echo of the other's experience. They separated slowly, foreheads still touching. No words were necessary. Everything important had already been communicated. The moment was shattered by an alert from the station's proximity sensors. A ship was approaching, the scheduled supply vessel, 3 days early. Fear spiked through their connection. Ilara clutched his arm, her eyes wild with panic. "It's the regular supply ship," Darian explained, projecting calm as best he could. "My colleague Maya Chen is on board. She'll understand. We can trust her." But even as he spoke the reassuring words, doubt gnawed at him. The corporation bulletin had mentioned rewards, substantial ones. Could he truly vouch for Maya's integrity against such temptation? As the ship's landing thrusters became audible even through the station's insulation, Darian made a swift decision. He led Ilara to a storage compartment beneath the laboratory floor, rarely used and absent from standard station schematics. "Stay here," he whispered, pressing a communication device into her hand. "If anything goes wrong, use this to reach me." Their fingers lingered together for a moment longer, conveying everything words couldn't express. Then Darian sealed the compartment and went to greet the arriving ship, his mind already calculating escape routes and survival odds. The game of deception had begun, with Ilara's freedom and perhaps her life hanging in the balance. Warmth beyond worlds. The atmospheric shuttle shuddered as Darian piloted it beyond Nix 6's gravitational field. Designed for short orbital jumps rather than interstellar travel, the craft protested with every passing minute. In the rear compartment, Ilara monitored the life support systems while Maya sat in sullen silence, her wrists bound with cable ties. "We have enough fuel to reach the Vega trading post," Darian announced, studying the navigation console. "From there, we might find passage to the outer colonies." Maya scoffed. "Helix has agents at every registered port. You won't make it past the first security checkpoint." "Then we won't use registered ports," Darian replied, setting course for a small asteroid belt that didn't appear on standard navigational charts. As the shuttle limped through space, Ilara moved to sit beside him at the controls. Her purple fingers brushed his arm, and immediately Darian felt her concern, not for their precarious situation, but for his injury. The makeshift bandage on his side had begun seeping again. "I'll be fine," he assured her, covering her hand with his. The contact deepened their connection, and Darian suddenly received an impression. Not words or images exactly, but a strong directional pull. Ilara was guiding him somewhere specific. "You know a place," he realized. "Somewhere safe?" She nodded, her silver eyes holding his. Her fingertips traced a pattern on the star chart, a route leading to an unmarked sector beyond the asteroid belt. Maya leaned forward, suspicious. "What is she showing you?" "A sanctuary," Darian replied, understanding flowing between him and Ilara. Trusting Ilara's guidance, Darian adjusted their course. Hours later, as they navigated through the dense asteroid field, their fuel reserves dwindled to critical levels. Just when it seemed they would be stranded in the void, a signal appeared. Faint and encoded differently from standard frequencies. Ilara's excitement pulsed through their connection. Her fingers danced across the communication panel, sending a response in the same unusual pattern. A moment later, a massive asteroid ahead of them seemed to shimmer, revealing a concealed docking bay carved into its surface. Gravitational tethers gently pulled their shuttle inside before the entrance sealed seamlessly behind them. As the airlock cycled open, they were met not by security forces, but a diverse group of beings. Some humanoid, others distinctly alien. Among them stood 3 Meridians, their purple skin and silver eyes marking them unmistakably as Ilara's kind. The reunion was wordless, but profound. Ilara embraced her people, waves of joy and relief emanating so strongly that even Maya seemed affected. When Ilara turned back to Darian, tears of mercury traced shining paths down her purple cheeks. One of the elder Meridians approached Darian, placing a hand on his shoulder. The touch conveyed gratitude and welcome, an invitation to stay. "What is this place?" Darian asked in wonder, looking around at the thriving community built within the asteroid's hollow core. A human woman with streaks of gray in her dark hair stepped forward. "We call it Haven, a sanctuary for those the corporations would exploit. Some of us were scientists who couldn't stomach what our research was being used for. Others are refugees like your Meridian friend." "And Helix can't find you?" "The asteroid's mineral composition masks energy signatures. The dock is only visible when we allow it to be. We've survived for 12 years this way." Maya, who had been observing silently, finally spoke. And what happens to me? I suppose you space corporate sympathizers. The woman regarded her coolly. We offered choices. Stay and contribute, or have your recent memories adjusted before transport to a neutral outpost. We're not barbarians, despite what your employers might claim. As Maya was led away to consider her options, Darian's wound finally demanded attention. The medical bay was surprisingly well equipped, a testament to the colony's resourcefulness. As he recovered, Alara rarely left his side, their connection deepening with each passing day. One evening, as the colony's artificial day cycle dimmed to simulate night, Alara led Darian to a secluded hydroponics garden. Exotic flowers glowed with bioluminescence, creating an otherworldly atmosphere. Here, in this private space, she placed both hands on his face, initiating the deepest connection they had shared. Darian felt himself falling into her consciousness, not just emotions now, but a complete sharing of self. In that profound communion, words became unnecessary. He understood everything she wanted to convey. Their kiss in this moment was both a beginning and a culmination. Her cool lips warmed against his, their bodies finding harmony despite their differences. Their embrace transcended the physical, each touch amplified by their empathic bond until boundaries between them blurred. In the soft glow of alien flora, they found a language of intimacy that needed no translation, a dialogue of fingertips tracing paths across skin, of heartbeats synchronizing, of shared breath and mingled sighs. Alara's purple skin shimmered with inner light as they moved together, their connection creating something greater than either could achieve alone. Afterwards, as they lay entwined among the gardens, Darian realized he had found something he never knew he was searching for. Not just Alara herself, but a purpose, a place where differences were celebrated rather than exploited. Days became weeks, and weeks stretched into months. The colony accepted Darian as one of their own, valuing his expertise in climate engineering. Maya chose memory adjustment and departed, unlikely to remember them or Haven. Alara flourished among her people while maintaining her special bond with Darian. Together, they helped integrate new refugees and strengthen Haven's defenses against the day they might be discovered. Sometimes, at night, Darian would wake with the phantom sensation of ice beneath his boots, remembering the frozen wasteland where their journey began. In those moments, Alara would stir beside him, her gentle touch banishing the cold memory. "We should have been enemies," he once remarked to her as they watched the stars through Haven's observation dome. Alara's response wasn't in words, it never needed to be. The emotion she projected contained everything important. Some connections transcend the expected boundaries. Some souls recognize each other across the void. In the vast, cold expanse of space, they had found something rare and precious, warmth that defied the darkness between stars. And in that warmth, they had both, finally, come home.
Starbound Guardians. The abandoned research outpost hung in the shadow of a massive asteroid, its solar arrays long dead, emergency lights pulsing weakly against the void. Rain guided their shuttle into the hangar bay, the magnetic clamps engaging with a dull thud that echoed through the empty structure. "Home sweet home," he muttered, powering down the engines, at least temporarily. Elio pressed her face to the viewport. "Mother remembers this place. There were 27 scientists here, studying quantum entanglement across organic neural networks." "Your mother's colleagues?" "Her creation." The girl's voice shifted into Solera's deeper tones. "I established this facility to explore the boundaries of consciousness transfer without harmonic oversight. What we discovered here, it was revolutionary and dangerous." Rain checked the atmosphere readings. "Minimal life support still functioning. We should have air and basic power, at least." They moved through the abandoned station like ghosts, their footsteps echoing down empty corridors. Rain's cartographer instincts kicked in, mentally mapping their route, noting emergency exits, potential defensive positions. 3 days of evading Helix patrols had left him hypervigilant. The central laboratory was intact, a circular room filled with equipment draped in protective coverings. Elio walked directly to a seemingly blank wall panel and pressed her palm against it. Lines of purple light spread from her touch, forming intricate patterns. Lyrian biometric security, she explained, her voice fluctuating between child and adult. Only those carrying specific genetic markers can access the core data. The wall slid open, revealing a small chamber containing a single crystalline structure on a pedestal. It pulsed with internal light, responding to Elio's presence. A memory crystal, Rain realized. I've seen smaller versions in museums. This is far more advanced, Solera's voice emerged dominant. It contains the complete neurological mapping procedure for reversing an incomplete Talvira. With this, I can finally free my daughter from our shared prison. Elio's body swayed suddenly, and Rain rushed forward to catch her before she collapsed. Her skin felt too warm, almost feverish, the lavender taking on a concerning ashen tone. The strain is accelerating, she whispered, Elio's childlike voice breaking through. Mother tries to protect me, but when she's strong, I feel like I'm drowning. Rain carried her to a nearby examination couch, his chest tight with concern. In the short time they'd been together, he'd grown attached to this strange child with her dual nature. He'd watched how she shifted between personalities. Sometimes Elio's childlike wonder at the stars, sometimes Solera's ancient wisdom and protective instincts. Both were becoming equally dear to him. The crystal contains the procedure, but we need specialized equipment, Elio explained once she'd recovered. There's a Lyrian medical research vessel, the Harmonia, that went into hiding after the coup. If we can locate it. Alarms blared suddenly, cutting her off. Rain rushed to a monitoring console, cursing under his breath as he brought up exterior sensors. Helix found us. 2 patrol ships deploying boarding parties. He turned to Elio, decision already made. Take the crystal. There's an emergency escape pod off the east quarter. You're coming too, she insisted, clutching his hand. Something warm unfurled in Rain's chest at her touch. I'll be right behind you. I need to trigger the station's security protocols first. Buy us some time. Elio stared at him with those impossible eyes, both consciousnesses seeming to evaluate him simultaneously. You're lying, she said softly. You're planning to stay behind. Rain knelt before her, placing his hands on her small shoulders. I've spent my life charting paths for others, Elio. Let me do this one last thing. You and your mother, you matter. What you carry matters. You matter too, she whispered, and pressed her forehead to his in what he recognized as a Lyrian gesture of deep connection. For a moment, he felt a strange resonance, as if her dual consciousness touched something within him that had been dormant his entire life. When she pulled back, her eyes shimmered with tears that caught the light like prisms. I'll find the Harmonia, and then I'll come back for you. The station shuddered as the first boarding team breached the outer doors. Rain pressed the crystal into her hands and guided her toward the escape corridor. I'll hold them here, he promised. Now go, follow the path I've laid for you. As she disappeared down the corridor, Rain turned to face the approaching threat, an old stellar cartographer, preparing to make his final stand among the stars he'd spent a lifetime mapping. For the first time in decades, he felt the certainty of purpose, something worth protecting, something worth fighting for. And perhaps, if fortune favored them both, something worth returning to.